Ukraine has launched a summer offensive against Russia, and for the first time in the long war, Russia is getting a real fight back. Historically, the term summer offensive refers to aggressive, large-scale military operations often launched during summer months when favorable weather conditions offer strategic advantages. From World War I to the Vietnam War, summer offensives have been instrumental in shaping the course of conflicts. The Ukrainian summer offensive, however, presents an intriguing contrast to this tradition. Shrouded in secrecy, it isn't a display of large formations of tanks or a surge of infantry across enemy lines. Instead, it's a calculated, meticulous series of actions, leveraging the elements of surprise and guile, aiming to inflict damage and disrupt enemy operations. Central to this offensive is the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, or drones, representing a new epoch in modern warfare. Equipped with high-resolution cameras and often armed with explosives, these drones provide a low-risk and cost-effective means to spy on enemy positions and carry out precision strikes. The epitome of this drone-driven warfare was the alleged attack on the Kremlin. In the early morning of May 30th, 2023, reports emerged of multiple drones breaching Russian airspace and supposedly targeting the Kremlin, Russia's political and symbolic heartland. Though the drones failed to achieve their target, this event underscored the evolving dynamics of the war, spotlighting the high stakes and unpredictability of Ukraine's summer offensive. The shadows of the offensive, as it seems, are stretching further than anyone had anticipated. Trench warfare had emerged as another crucial aspect of the Ukrainian summer offensive against Russia. The counterattacks of the Russian army in specific trenches has allowed the Ukrainian forces to establish defensive positions, providing cover from enemy fire and reducing casualties. These trenches serve as a stronghold from which they can launch coordinated attacks and strategic maneuvers. By employing trench warfare, Ukraine aims to consolidate its gains, making an effort to regain its territorial control, thus hindering the Russian advancements. Tank battles are another pivotal element, offering indispensable ground support as the Ukrainian forces strive to reclaim occupied territories and cut off Russia's land bridge to Crimea. This year, NATO's allies, including the UK and Germany, supplied Ukraine with Challenger and Leopard tanks, two of the most sophisticated and capable models globally. These tanks, renowned for their extended range and pinpoint accuracy, are instrumental in helping Ukraine's forces to breach Russian fortifications and anti-tank defenses. Beyond their strategic importance, the tanks also serve a crucial psychological function, bolstering the morale and confidence of Ukrainian soldiers who have been engaged in battle against a formidable adversary for close to a year. The pivotal role of the summer offensive cannot be understood without understanding the history of the current conflict. Ukraine, a nation wedged between the East and the West, finds itself in the agony of an enduring conflict that has far-reaching implications, not just for the country itself, but for the world order at large. The roots of this dispute extend back to 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, leading to tensions that eventually erupted into full-fledged military confrontation in 2022. Since then, the situation has been anything but static, with the stakes continuously escalating and the battleground shifting. The distressing consequences of the ongoing conflict are evident in the sobering toll of casualties reported on both sides. According to a confidential Pentagon document obtained by NBC News and other news outlets, the U.S. estimated in February that Ukraine has endured between 124,500 to 131,000 casualties, among which approximately 15,500 to 17,500 were confirmed to be fatal. By the same report, Russia's losses were considerably higher, with casualties estimated between 189,500 to 223,000, including an estimated 35,500 to 43,000 soldiers killed in action. The devastation is not confined to the battlefield. Beyond the grim numbers of lives lost, the persistent conflict has left a lasting mark on towns and cities, scarred by the relentless shelling. The psychological wounds borne by those who have witnessed the horrors of war are equally profound and long-lasting. Russia, having the upper hand in this war, has gained a significant portion of Ukrainian territory in the ongoing conflict, particularly in the eastern regions. As of the current situation, approximately 7 to 8% of Ukrainian territory is under Russian control. Cities such as Donetsk and Luhansk have fallen under Russia, marking a major turning point in the conflict. As the war drags on, one can't help but wonder how much longer Ukraine can endure. This strategic move, launched by Ukraine, has set in motion a chain of events that is reshaping the dynamics of the conflict, leaving a profound impact on multiple fronts. Tactically, the offensive has brought about significant changes that have caught the opposing forces off guard. Ukrainian forces have adopted a more agile and covert approach, utilizing hit-and-run tactics, ambushes, and surgical strikes to disrupt enemy operations. This shift has proven effective in causing confusion among the Russian forces and allies and has enabled Ukrainian forces to regain control over strategic locations, altering the power balance in their favor. Strategically, the summer offensive has presented a new paradigm for the overall conflict. By challenging the assumption that Ukraine is solely on the defensive, it has shattered the preconceived notions of a stagnant war. The offensive has demonstrated Ukraine's resolve to fight back and regain lost territories, signaling a willingness to push beyond previous boundaries. This strategic shift has reverberated not only within the conflict zone, but also on the international stage, where it has drawn attention to Ukraine's determination and resilience. Beyond the tactical and strategic implications, the summer offensive has had profound psychological effects on both the belligerents and the general population. For Ukrainian forces, it has boosted morale and instilled a renewed sense of purpose, instigating a belief that victory is attainable. Conversely, the pro-Russian separatists find themselves grappling with uncertainty and doubt, as their previous assumptions of an easy triumph have been shattered. The civilian population, already burdened by the long-lasting conflict, now bears witness to intensified violence and heightened tensions, fueling fear and anxiety about the future. As the offensive continues to unfold, its consequences will reverberate far beyond the battleground, shaping the trajectory of the conflict in unforeseen ways. By yielding tangible gains, the summer offensive launched by Ukraine has altered the course of the conflict. Through strategic maneuvers and calculated actions, Ukrainian forces have successfully regained control over key territories previously held by pro-Russian separatists. This territorial shift has not only disrupted enemy operations, but has also secured vital supply routes and bolstered Ukraine's defensive positions, providing a renewed sense of stability in the region. However, the gains achieved by the summer offensive cannot be solely attributed to Ukraine's military prowess. The Ukrainian summer offensive has been significantly strengthened by foreign aid and assistance, playing a critical role in augmenting Ukraine's defenses and attack capabilities. Preparations are underway to train Ukrainian forces to pilot F-16 jets, known globally for their advanced capabilities. These jets, requested from NATO allies, are seen as key to neutralizing Russia's air superiority and enabling strikes on Russian territory. Countries like the US, the Netherlands, and Denmark have taken the lead in offering training and maintenance support, with plans for training to commence as early as this summer, possibly in Denmark. In addition, the US has provided Patriot missiles to Ukraine as part of a $1.8 billion aid package. These mobile surface-to-air and anti-ballistic missile systems are designed to intercept incoming missiles and aircraft. They've already played a decisive role in defending against Russian missiles and drone attacks on Ukraine's infrastructure. Interestingly, Ukraine claims to have used these missiles to shoot down Russian hypersonic Kinzhal missiles, which was an impressive feat that surprised even the Pentagon. The Poland deal exemplifies further international support for Ukraine's cause. This agreement entails sending 28 MiG-29 fighter jets from Poland to Ukraine via the US, with replacement F-16s going to Poland. This comes in response to Ukraine's request for more fighter jets to counter Russian aerial bombardments, thus supporting their efforts to reclaim occupied territories. This foreign assistance has already demonstrated its value, as Ukraine reported the recapture of 7 villages from Russian forces along a roughly 100-kilometer front in the southeast since the counteroffensive's inception last week. Financial aid from the European Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States has provided Ukraine with the necessary resources to sustain its offensive efforts. The infusion of funds has enabled the procurement of advanced weaponry, ammunition, and critical supplies to support Ukrainian forces on the front lines. The increased firepower, improved logistics, and enhanced tactical capabilities have tilted the balance in Ukraine's favor, placing pro-Russian separatists on the back foot. Undoubtedly, the offensive holds the potential to tip the delicate balance of the conflict, introducing a new chapter in the prolonged struggle. While an outright shift in the balance of power remains uncertain, the offensive has disrupted the status quo and challenged the assumption of a static war. However, the summer offensive, despite its gains, has the potential to prolong the war. The intensified fighting and increased territorial ambitions may ignite a cycle of retaliatory actions and counterattacks, prolonging the conflict and deepening the suffering of both military personnel and civilians. As each side digs in, casualties mount, further entrenching the opposing forces and creating a potential quagmire. The offensive's impact extends beyond the battlefield. Russia, a key player in the conflict, bears the financial and human cost of its continued involvement. The financial burden of supporting pro-Russian separatists and sustaining military operations in Ukraine strains Russia's resources. Additionally, the loss of Russian soldiers and the political repercussions of an extended war pose significant challenges to Moscow. The unexpected dragging out of the conflict has confounded initial expectations. Many anticipated a swift victory for Russia, minoring the miscalculations made by the USSR during its ill-fated venture into Afghanistan. The parallels between the two conflicts serve as a stark reminder that a protracted war can drain resources, erode public support, and ultimately lead to strategic setbacks. The Soviet Union's foray into Afghanistan, beginning in 1979, resulted in a protracted and costly war that lasted for almost a decade. The Soviet forces faced a determined insurgency, suffered heavy casualties, and struggled to establish control over the region. Russia's experience in Afghanistan holds important lessons for its involvement in Ukraine. The complexities of an asymmetrical conflict, the resilience of local fighters, and the challenges of occupation are reminiscent of the current situation. The Afghan conflict ultimately led to a humiliating withdrawal in 1989. A long war in Ukraine could become a nightmare scenario for Russia. As history has shown, the costs of prolonged military engagements are multifaceted. The longer the conflict persists, the more Russia risks becoming entangled in a protracted struggle. Furthermore, the implications extend beyond the immediate military sphere. A prolonged war in Ukraine could also strain Russia's diplomatic standing, leading to increased international isolation and economic sanctions. The international community's perception of Russia's actions in Ukraine, coupled with the potential human rights abuses and war crimes, may further tarnish its global reputation. As the war continues to drag on, Russia faces the prospect of repeating history, grappling with the enduring costs and complexities that come with occupying a foreign land. In the shadows of uncertainty and escalating tensions, the summer offensive in Ukraine has set in motion a series of events with profound implications. As the conflict lingers, the echoes of history resound, reminding us of the pitfalls and nightmares of prolonged engagements. Will Ukraine defy the odds and carve its path to victory, or will the specter of a long-lasting war cast its dark shadow once again? Only time will reveal the answer.
If you enjoyed this video, please support us by hitting the like button. Stay updated with our latest videos by subscribing to our channel.